The rooftop glittered like a constellation brought down to earth. String lights wrapped around columns, soft jazz floated through the warm evening air, and champagne flutes caught the glow of the city skyline. I stood beside Daniel, my fiancé, laughing at something his sister said when the event planner tapped my shoulder. "The catering team is here. They are setting up the bar now." I nodded absently, still caught in the perfect haze of the evening. Then I turned toward the bar, and my heart stopped. There he was. Tray in hand. White shirt. Black vest. Face pale as moonlight. Ryan.my ex-boyfriend. The man who told me I'd be nothing without him. For 3 seconds, we locked eyes. His mouth opened slightly, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. I felt my pulse spike, my breath catch, but I didn't look away. I smiled. Calm. Controlled. Then I raised my champagne glass toward him in a slow, deliberate toast. His hands trembled. The tray nearly slipped, and just like that, the night became unforgettable. 3 years earlier, I sat across from Ryan in our tiny apartment, tears streaming down my face. "You're choosing work over us again, Claire." "I'm not choosing work. I'm trying to build a future for us." He laughed bitterly and leaned back in his chair, arms crossed like a judge delivering a verdict. "You'll be nothing without me." The words didn't sound like anger. They sounded like fact. Cold. Final. Absolute. I wanted to fight back, to scream that he was wrong, but part of me wondered if he was right. After all, he was the confident one, the charming one, the one people listened to at parties. What was I? Just the girl working late nights at a failing startup, exhausted and invisible. That night, he packed his bags. No tears. No apology. Just a shrug and a final comment. Good luck being somebody. The door closed. I sat on the floor and cried until my chest ached. The next morning, I woke up to silence so thick it felt suffocating. His toothbrush was gone. His cologne no longer lingered in the bathroom. Even the coffee maker sat cold and unused. I stumbled to work late, mascara smudged, hair barely brushed. My boss called me into his office. "Claire, this isn't working out. We need someone reliable." I nodded, numb. 2 hours later, I cleaned out my desk. Within a week, I was unemployed, single, and drowning in self-doubt. Rent was overdue. My savings evaporated. Friends stopped calling. Maybe they were tired of hearing me cry, or maybe Ryan had already told his version of the story. One night, I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror and whispered the words I'd been avoiding. Maybe he was right. But somewhere deep inside, a tiny voice answered back, "Prove him wrong." My old college professor, Ms. Hayes, saw my LinkedIn profile updated with open to work. She messaged me immediately. "Claire, I always knew you had something special. Don't let one bad chapter define your story." She connected me with a small boutique marketing firm that needed an intern. The pay was laughable. The hours were brutal. But it was a lifeline. I took it. The first 3 months were hell. I worked 15-hour days. I learned graphic design on YouTube at 2 a.m. I pitched campaign ideas that got rejected. I made coffee runs, filed reports, and stayed invisible. But I absorbed everything: social media algorithms, brand storytelling, consumer psychology. I became a sponge, soaking up every lesson, every critique, every tiny win. One day, my boss noticed. "You're hungry," he said. I liked that. It wasn't praise, but it was recognition. And that was enough. 6 months in, my phone buzzed late one night. "Ryan, heard you're doing okay." Miss US.my hands shook. For a moment, I hovered over the keyboard, tempted to reply. To ask if he regretted it. To tell him how much he'd hurt me. Then I remembered his voice. "You'll be nothing without me." I deleted the message. Blocked his number. And smiled for the first time in months. A year later, I pitched a campaign idea during a client meeting. It was bold. Risky. The kind of idea that could either go viral or flop spectacularly. My boss hesitated. Then he nodded. "Let's do it." 3 weeks later, the campaign exploded. Millions of impressions. Features in marketing blogs. Client renewals. Promotions. My boss pulled me aside. "You've got leadership written all over you, Claire." That was the first time in years I felt seen, not as someone's girlfriend, not as someone's intern, but as me. Naomi, the firm's creative director, took me under her wing. She was sharp, fearless, unapologetic. "You don't need anyone's approval to be great," she told me one afternoon over coffee. "You just need momentum." Her words became my mantra. Over the next 2 years, I climbed. Senior strategist, account director. Then, at 29, I was offered a position as senior executive at a global marketing firm. I said yes without hesitation. That's when I met Daniel. He was different. Quiet where Ryan had been loud. Supportive where Ryan had been threatened. He celebrated my wins without needing to compete. One night, under the city lights on a rooftop overlooking the skyline, he knelt and opened a small velvet box. "You're the strongest person I know, Claire. Will you marry me?" I cried, not from sadness, but from a peace I'd never felt before. We chose a rooftop venue for our engagement party. Elegant but simple. Intimate but meaningful. The event planner assured me everything was handled. "We've hired an experienced catering team, bartenders, servers, the works." I didn't ask for names. Why would I? The evening was perfect. The skyline glowed gold and violet. Music floated through the air. Guests mingled, laughter echoing across the rooftop. I was mid-conversation when the planner approached. The lead bartender just arrived. "He'll be setting up now." I turned casually and froze. Ryan stood near the bar, adjusting his vest, looking older and tired. His eyes scanned the crowd, then landed on me. He blinked. Once. Twice. Like he was seeing a ghost. I didn't flinch. I didn't hide. I smiled politely, raised my champagne glass, and said, "Welcome. The bar's that way." His face drained of color. All evening, I felt his eyes on me. Every time I laughed with a guest, his hands shook. Every time Daniel kissed my cheek, Ryan's jaw tightened. Daniel noticed. "You okay?" I squeezed his hand. "Just old memories." A few guests recognized him. The ex who once called me delusional for dreaming big. The man who said I'd never make it. The irony spread through the crowd like wildfire. I didn't add fuel. I didn't need to. When Daniel raised his glass, his voice was steady and warm. To believing in each other's dreams, always. The crowd erupted in cheers. Across the room, Ryan stood frozen, champagne bottle in hand, realizing the weight of every word. Later, Ryan approached me quietly near the balcony. "Claire, I didn't know this was your party." I turned to face him, calm and composed. "I know. Life's funny like that." He exhaled shakily. "You really made it." I did. Silence hung between us. "I was wrong," he said finally. "I said those things because I was scared. You were always better than me." For a second, I almost felt pity. "I don't need an apology, Ryan," I said gently. "You taught me something important, how to stand on my own. I just hope you find something that makes you proud of yourself too." His eyes watered. He nodded and walked away. When I took the microphone, I looked out at the crowd, friends, colleagues, family, and yes, Ryan standing quietly near the exit. To everyone who believed in me, and to those who didn't, you all shaped me into who I am today. The room erupted. Ryan's jaw tightened. He knew exactly what I meant. He quietly handed his towel to a coworker and walked toward the door. I caught his reflection in the glass, a man realizing what his pride had cost him. Before he disappeared, I turned slightly and raised my glass. Not mockingly. Not bitterly, just in closure. He gave a sad smile, and then he was gone. Later, Daniel asked, "Who was that bartender?" I smiled. "Someone who once doubted me. I should probably thank him. He gave me all the motivation I needed." As the party ended, I stepped onto the balcony alone. The city lights shimmered below, alive and endless. I whispered into the night. "You were right about one thing, Ryan. I did need someone to push me. I just didn't need you." And for the first time in years, I felt completely, beautifully free.